Also, I just scheduled I'm going to Colorado in mid-August.
I will also be mid-August out of the country or out of town. Nick, it's going to be you and Kyle.
Me and Kyle again.
If you can get Kyle to sign on.
It'll be great. It'll be a whole show where you just assume that he has finally found the time to watch like any number of things that have aired between the last time you spoke and now, and he won't have. He just won't have. And it'll be F1.
He'll have found the time to watch like 100 hours of F1 though.
Yes.
That is true. Yes.
And you can keep checking in with like, okay, this YouTube documentary about F1 that you're telling me about, how many hours was it? Well, I mean, it's a series. It's, 25 1-hour parts.
Kyle, is this just racing? Yes.
Yes.
And then you can tell them that you've just been watching that. You can see how long you can go before you reveal you were still talking about dinosaurs.
Right.
Episode 444 of the TV Dudes, recorded July 19th, 2023. The Afterparty. This week, The Afterparty returns for Season 2 on Apple Plus, and What We Do in the Shadows returns for Season 5 on Hulu. Plus, we've got our thoughts on the penultimate secret invasion and the latest My Adventures with Superman. Before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
And I'm Nick, and you're all in my mind movie.
Yo, we're going to be closing in our 450th episode. Crazy.
Wait, didn't we have like our 400th like a while ago? Just like I felt like a couple weeks ago or whatever.
It would have been about 44 weeks ago.
Was I on
Every
that
once in a
one?
while, we just mass hypnotize everybody, replace half the hosts, and renumber.
You've got to stop mass hypnotizing everyone. I feel like the whole world is getting dumber.
You will all forget that we forgot that we
it's Staten Island.
that.
No one will notice.
You make the whole borough dumber.
It's Staten Island. It's fine.
Do you think Trump got elected because Nandor kept hypnotizing people?
I mean, so.
There's a
oh man, that
there.
feels like a Seinfeld rip. Like they go on a vacation and it's to the like one swing vote county, some swing state.
Well, it's all the people moving from New York to Florida. That's what's going on.
Oh, Jerry's parents are Trump voters.
Oh man.
God. Oh, I don't want to think about that.
If not Jerry's parents, definitely fucking George's.
Now let's do our TV diaries.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
I will start this week. I did not watch a ton of stuff. I didn't watch a ton of new stuff. Watched all the homework. I'm on my Parks and Rec binge right now, so I burned through the rest of season 3, and then start off with season 4. That show, I think after this I'll probably watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I'm on kind of a Mike Schur kick right now.
What starts? I'm trying to remember. They all blur together at this point for me. What starts 4? Is that London or is that DC?
No, it's not that. So it's not that far. Season 3 ends with little Sebastian dying and Leslie deciding to run for office.
That's it.
Season 4 kicks off with Leslie and Ben breaking up and her deciding and her announcing her candidacy.
Yes. Okay.
So season 4 is the Leslie runs for office season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, season 5. Yeah. Then it's later. 5 and 6 are the DC and London.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It continues to be super funny. There is this frustrating thing as I watch it that like they really Rob Lowe is such a likable character, not an actor. As a person, he's kind of a dick, but as an actor, he's a likable person. His character, Chris, is really likable, but his position on them, like not being able to date, is it's such a plot contrivance.
Yeah,
and like it doesn't fit with his otherwise like humanistic personality.
And they almost run afoul of it later. Like it gets almost a little hypocritical later.
Yes,
for sure. Run afoul of it.
Yeah, it's a weird misstep. I mean, it works because they have to do the will they won't they with Leslie and keep that going a little bit. And it works, but Chris doesn't feel like a good bad guy for it. I
think my favorite thing that I didn't really plug into the first time that I watched it through that gets funnier to me as I watch it is though Anne and Chris eventually end up together, the entire runner with him breaking up with her a couple of times.
And her never knowing it.
And her not knowing it because she's not been dumped. Like no one's ever dumped Anne.
And
he's so nice about it. But like the second
Well,
time it happens when she thinks they're getting back together, and he's like, "Wait,
oh,
whoa!"
oh no,
She's like,
yeah,
"Oh my
yeah,
god, okay, I just have to
I think it
move."
takes the Sure crowd a minute to get to Jake and Amy or Chidi and Eleanor,
yeah,
where they don't have to rely on the like the fucking contrived bullshit of will they, won't they. Like I
yeah.
think
You're
that's
right.
rewatching Brooklyn Nine-Nine is like that relationship between Jake and Amy. They most of the show they are together.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it is, and it is not like it's proof of concept. Like you don't have to do this bullshit of like breaking them up every other season to keep the fucking
yeah.
relationship interesting.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, yeah.
If
I think
anything,
you're
it makes
right.
it weirder to go back and watch them when you remember the show is like, well, Jake and Amy are together, and then you go back and watch like the season where they're not, and
Yeah,
it's just weird.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Also, I think you said something about uh so one of the episodes of this season was Anne start trying to go out dating, like speed dating, and they go to show that like Anne is hot and smart, but she's terrible at dating and has terrible taste in men. And so her dating stuff is always pays comedy dividends. But the
Oh
bit where
man,
she's trying to go to a speed dating event and she sees Donna there, and she's so happy to see Donna because she has somebody she knows, and Donna's having none of it.
yeah,
She's like,
like your
"No, you don't know
competition.
me here. We're in the jungle. Any man you get, that's a man I'm not getting."
Yeah.
And then Anne is so bad at flirting that Donna has to step in. It's just painful to watch.
Oh yeah. Donna's whole thing of like you want to scribble your name so that they have to lean in and ask, and
Yes,
like,
yes. Yeah, it's such a fantastic show. It's such a great ensemble, and we're also it's the Entertainment 720 season, which is hilarious
hmm,
to watch. Yeah,
oh
so
yeah,
it's
J
it's a
shot.
blast. uh, I had some friends over. I have two more friends. I showed all of Ted Lasso season one to. We did a binge all season one. I believe I've now seen Ted Lasso season one about 10 times, and it's funny and gets me to cry every single time. It's just perfect TV.
Yeah, it is just chef's kiss.
Then I watched the latest episode of It's Always Sunny, which I will continue to report on because this whole season has been great, and this one has the McPoyles. Oh, it's the bowling episode. So yeah, D decides D is going to go bowling with Artemis and the waitress, and I cannot remember Chloe from 24, Marilyn Rockshab playing sort of I forget her name is the snail. So like it's those four characters and the McPoyles on the bowling alley, and the guys show up and it becomes a guys versus girls bowling, and it's the kind of thing you can do when you've done 16 seasons, you know these characters really well, and when you have no shame, and it's very funny. I also watched the latest episode of Hijack. I don't know if you guys are up on that or not.
One episode behind. Haven't watched the one that just dropped.
Yeah.
Man, it is getting very intense. We're two episodes from the end now, and they continue to really ramp up the tension and make me I don't know where they're going with it. I don't quite know the plot, what's actually causing the hijacking and all that. But it is really good TV. It's some of my favorite stuff right now to watch. Then I watched almost a full episode of Full Circle, the new Soderbergh show on Max. And guys, I'm not crazy. Soderbergh used to do like fun, cool, stylish shows, right?
So this is him and Ed Solomon again, who also did Mosaic with him, and it feels like
Yeah.
Mosaic
Oh man, you're
to
right.
me.
Yeah.
Which I think I just don't plug in necessarily to
But
like I
Ed,
like a lot of stuff that's happening on it, but at the same time I'm not plugging into quite how
but
it works.
Ed Solomon did Men in
Bill and
Black,
Ted.
right? Bill and Ted. Okay. Did he also do Men in Black?
I think
Or is
so,
that
yeah.
somebody else?
I
Yeah.
think that was him.
So
Yeah.
yeah, Bill and Ted, Men in Black. Now You See Me Too, and this mopey, over complicated piece of shit. I don't understand how you get these people and make this show. I thought I was at least gonna they dropped 2 episodes. I thought I would at least watch 2, and they've got it's a good cast.
By the end of the second one, they go ahead and do the mix up of like there's little things happening that I love. Like I like having a huge complicated crime plan and then just randomly
Mhm.
having two kids that are kind of mid-level to low level in it be like,
Yeah,
nope, I'm gonna do everything I can to absolutely fuck this plan up.
yeah,
And like that's hilarious. I can't believe I don't see it more often. But at the same time, this plot isn't like it it relies on multiple accidental so there's like a kidnapping thing going on, but it gets
Mhm.
foiled because of a couple of kids fucking it up in the middle, but it also gets foiled because Tim Oliphant is paying a kid to steal his son's phone and shit and make his son look crazy, and we don't quite know
Yeah.
why. And like
Yeah.
the show requires 3 shows worth of like weird shit
Yeah.
to all be accidentally happening at the same time.
And also, honestly, the biggest thing is it's not fun. It's not fun or deep. This is these people between them made Men in Black, Out of Sight, Logan Lucky. They've done
Yeah.
cool like crime, weird
No, fun, lovable, love the characters. Yeah. This all of the rich
this is
people and they are just monolithically rich. Like
yeah,
the Chef Jeff, like Dennis Quaid's character, Tim
yeah.
Oliphant's dad, Claire Danes is in her like she owns this genre now. Like she's like Andrew McCarthy in the
Ice
80s.
Queen,
Like
yeah, yeah.
she has about to snap rich lady down.
Mhm.
And then their weird kid.
Yeah.
And like they are unplugged, out of touch rich. Like watching them deal with it should be a triangle of sadness, rich people
Mhm.
farce. Like because them trying to deal with this kidnapping it should be funny. I
Yeah.
mean, like you almost want to laugh, except that the show is not played for that at all.
Right.
But then you've got these kids coming up from Guyana,
Yeah.
coming up
Yeah,
from South
yeah,
America,
yeah. Yeah.
and that whole crime thing, which that that's its own show. Just leave the rest of
Yeah.
it out of it. That's
Yeah.
its own show because CCH Pounder running an insurance company that somehow just insures and murders and pays themselves on homeless people is
Yeah.
insane. Like they get kids to like buy their passports by committing like a certain number of murders on people that they've got policies. Like I don't quite understand how the scam works, but it's dark and fucked up. But it's not the main part of the show either. Like the main part of the show seems to be this magic thing that she won't explain to anyone.
Yeah. It's got a stacked cast and great creators, and I was really, really just
Yeah, I may keep watching it. I like the plot of it and everything, but you're not wrong. Like it's it's entirely on like, oh my god, look at all these moving parts. But I'm not really feeling any of them. Like I kind of wanted, like if anything, by the end of the second episode, I was like, I don't want you to spoil whatever's happening. Like the most interesting thing for this show would be for CCH Pounder to pull this off right this second.
right. And then I watched Catch Me If You Can because we're going to do that for a Patreon at some point, and it was better than I remembered it being, although I still don't love it. And that's my TV Diaries. What about y'all?
Well, I watched The Jewel Thief, which Nick, I think you came in. I restarted it. I think I wasn't that far
Not
into
quite, but I
Pretty
basically
close to
all
the
of it.
start.
Yeah, the most of it. So it's this. What was the guy's name?
it. Glenn Blanchard, I believe is his name.
Blanchard.
It's a documentary on Hulu about this Canadian guy. He grew up in Omaha until the first time he gets arrested, and then he gets deported to Canada. But this guy starts out in the 90s stealing, just shoplifting, just stealing whatever the fuck because he's poor. And really, like a lot of kids who shoplift, really fucking enjoys it. And then from there, he jumps to like pulling a moving truck up to a Radio Shack and just stealing the whole fucking, like emptying the contents of a Radio Shack while
Emptying,
it's closed.
just stealing
Like
a Radio
he didn't
Shack.
rob a Radio Shack, he stole a Radio Shack entirely. And then he jumps from there to like, why don't I just go to where the money is? And so he starts robbing banks. And he is very good at it. He robs, they won't say the specific number, but it feels like in the couple dozen, maybe 3 dozen banks is what it feels like. Like it's a lot of, it's enough banks they won't talk about it because he eventually has to settle with the Central Bank of Canada.
Yeah.
He also, though, this dude is slick. I mean, like it is a crazy documentary. He eventually steals a crown jewel. Like every time they go to the cops talking about him, you can see that they're like, well, yeah, now that it's all done, damn, man, kid had style. Like you could just hear the like, nope, coolest thing I've ever gotten to do as an officer.
Yeah, the Canadian cops, especially the task force that was set to
Oh
hunt him
man.
down, they feel like like they don't feel like bastard cops. Like they are seriously out to like they are the one of them, I forget his name, but the main guy on the force, on the task force they put on him is
Yeah.
really like, it's his dream to like put his mind to like, I love solving puzzles, figuring out how people
This
did the stuff they did. And
yeah,
this kid
this guy
is
loves making puzzles. Like
and this kid is the best I've ever seen of like trying to figure out. We still don't know exactly how he did certain things he did, because and that's my one complaint about the documentary is that, and it's not its fault, is that even interviewing the guy, he can't go into detail. Like it's very detailed from his young life up until juvie, and then him getting deported
till he goes overseas.
until he go
Yeah.
until he even gets to Canada, because they don't reveal how he robs the first.
Yeah, they
bank.
won't exactly explain how he robs past like and you definitely understand why. Like he settled with the Bank of Canada to not explain how he exploited something.
Yeah, and you don't want to teach people how to rob banks, but the second time he does it is like, well, it would be easy. Where it would be easy to do it is if there was no bank. So he just starts to case a joint that before, like a bank that's being built, and robs it as soon as the money hits it.
Which means that there's no real way to know how many banks he's prepped.
Yeah,
So like these are the like he'll go and stay like days in a bank being built so that he can fuck up, like put an exploit in the security system or in the any number of things. It's great. He'll leave cameras in and watch them investigate it.
and it'll give him a
So
heads
that
up
like
if he's
when they finally arrest him, he's starting to tell these cops about like, oh yeah, no, here's where the cameras are on you, and they were like, wait, what? It's fun.
yes, yeah.
It's called The Jewel Thief. It is a really fun documentary. Yeah, we also watched Nick had never seen, and so I showed him. It's a movie based on this gangster's life, Henry Hill,
Mm-hmm.
a husband and wife team, and they both did research, and 2 different movies got made. And so you've probably seen Goodfellas, but My Blue Heaven.
Wait a minute. That's oh my god, that makes so much sense.
Yes. So My Blue Heaven, which I never realized as a kid watching this, I had no idea. And it came out like right around Goodfellas too.
Holy shit, that just blew my mind, Les. I love My Blue Heaven.
My Blue Heaven is the sequel, is like the unofficial sequel to Goodfellas. You know, when the Goodfellas ends and he's in witness protection, this movie picks up right then, like
with a very different tone. And very different
yeah,
actors.
Yeah, they're really leaning into the oh my god, his like Steve Martin's body language has an accent. Like he gets out of the car, and I went to Les having not seen. Well, I did end up seeing like it revealed like, oh yeah,
You'd
I
seen
have
like
seen
a
this
scene,
movie
yeah,
at some point.
Oh, okay, you did.
But I forgot about it because I saw the ending, and I went to Les. Like he gets out of the car, and I'm like, oh hey Les, look, I'm getting out of the car. Look at me. And suddenly he starts to talk, and I'm like, oh shit, my like the thing I said as a joke.
Yeah.
You can hear his accent before he even speaks. Yeah.
What's funny, I've seen that movie so many times because at some point it became like a favorite of mine, and I watched it over and over again. But the thing that I think it's a very funny. Rick Moranis plays the FBI agent.
Yes,
I think it's very funny. But my favorite joke is based on the accent. There's when he goes shopping in the small town, and the guy says to him, he's like, "Have a nice day." He's like, he turns to him, and he's
fuck
like,
you,
"Fuck you." It's like that's it. That's the joke, and he puts so much mustard. It's like watching Maya Rudolph do something. There's so much mustard on the joke that it works.
That was another one of the moments where Nick was just spitballing at the movie and said exactly what, because like right before he says it, like as the guy says, oh, have a nice day, mister, and Nick goes, fuck you, and like Steve Martin on the heels of it. It was like watching Violent Night where I said, if I were making this movie right now, he'd vomit on her, and Nick went, wait
for it.
And like
yeah, there's also the whole weird merengue runner.
Oh man, yeah, all the dancing, like, got to get to 90 minutes, man.
Well, like, there's no story arc in the movie. No one learns anything really.
No.
You just bop along. Nobody gets in trouble. Everybody has a blast. They're using his real name on the stadium at the end because I guess
at the end of like, because it's a stadium built to not his fucking pseudonym, like his real name.
Yes,
it's not Todd Wilkinson or whatever.
He's terrible at witness protection.
Oh,
yes.
just awful.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite bits is you really need to start going by your fake names. And she immediately goes, "Yeah, Terry, I hate the house." Or like, no,
No,
you're-
he's Todd.
no,
No,
he's Todd.
you're
You're
Terry.
Terry.
He's Todd.
Oh,
I hate the house, Todd. Better.
My wife, God rest her soul.
Soul. Oh God, just the amount of times that he tells fucking 8 million different stories, and you realize he'll never
Yep.
stop. You'll never pin him down.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
why
He will
are
never
you, why
stop
are you
making up more
confronting him with the
bullshit.
truth? Like he's never gonna go, you got me. No, that's not in his
Right.
repertoire. It's just like, no, how about this? How about if I lie more? No, that doesn't work. I'll lie
Right.
bigger. Like, well, those are the same thing.
Yep.
But there's subtle
Yep.
differences.
No, I was building the stadium for the kids the whole time.
I
Yeah,
honestly can't
obviously.
tell if he was or not. Like,
He definitely was not.
like
He definitely was not.
I would say no, but then there's like so much work. I'm like, man, that takes a lot of like. He must have he couldn't have done that from his cell. But then again,
Like,
he's so connected.
It's that it's the same as in Catch Me If You Can or in Jewel-Thick.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the
Yeah.
amount of work you will do to not do regular work is
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, it is some Calvin and Hobbes shit, man. Then, of course, I've watched a bit of Elementary. We watched a Gary Busey monster or a creature feature,
My God.
Man-Eater.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my Lord. Where
Why?
Gary Busey's teeth were obviously he's not actually the creature.
To answer your question, Randy, I had work to do, and we couldn't put on something I was actually gonna like watch.
Yeah.
Got it. I understand
Like-
now.
We needed background.
I can't remember what we were
music.
deciding of. Like, hey, do you want to watch this? I'm like, no, I actually have some work I need to get done. Put on something we're
So
not
it can't
gonna
be
like
anything good.
pay
Yeah,
attention
so
to.
we just picked something that looked abjectly terrible that you might look up at every once in a while and go, "What the fuck?"
We can't watch Afterparty. I'll get sucked in.
Right.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. Got it.
Then I watched through Lisa had watched part of it, so I watched with her through the new season of Project Greenlight with Issa Rae's company and Kamal Nanjiani.
Yeah.
And then we watched the movie that it's based on, or that they made from it,
Right.
which
How
was called Gray
was-
Matter.
How were those things?
As I'd never watched really I'd never watched a whole season of Greenlight before. It was at various times infuriating and eye-opening, and just like you just end up screaming it. I started out siding with the director so much of like, they're being crazy. They're giving you very conflicting shit. I hear you, like you can feel her when there starts to be a vibe of like, are you guys fucking with my movie to make a better show? And like there's some real questions with that, you know, and they point out all the very good reasons why that would actually be a long-term terrible idea if you ever want to get anyone to come back on the show.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a little bit of it. But then as the thing goes on, it just becomes about how this director communicates and all of the like this just running thing throughout the entire season of like every script meeting they have with like all of Issa Rae's people going, hey, so here's like the 3 big points we've identified. We've given you like a page of detailed notes about the script problems. They need to be fixed like tonight, because that's kind of how all budgeting and all department prep starts from. And she's like, well, like every time, like, what do you mean you can't just go, you know, like write, like just make the best ideas come out? And like this is a table full of people who are used to the kind of writers' rooms where like,
Go
no,
outside.
I'm gonna go sit in that fucking corner and put a paper bag over your head or noise canceling
Get me
headphones.
pages.
Pop your laptop open
by the end of
and
the day.
rewrite this fucking script today. Like, what do you mean you're gonna you can't go to sleep until this script is fixed? And I mean so that then after having watched the series, watching the movie and going, fuck. Every time they put a title card with text in here, you know it's a studio note, and they're right. It needed it. And like I'm
man.
watching like y'all didn't fix any of the fucking script problems that started from this. It's crazy. It was interesting. It was they do a little intro at the start of each one that's like, so hey, there's been ever how many seasons of fucking Project Greenlight, more than I'd realized. And there's never once been, not once, a woman director at all. So
or
they
a
were
person
like,
of
so
color, I don't think.
I don't think a person of color either, but I'm not dead certain on that. But I'm
Definitely not a woman.
And so they were like, so this season we're just, you know, like it or not, we're just going to start from a panel of women applicants. Like that's just what we're starting from. And I honestly, I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they did it. Like it is great to just at least start from that, because otherwise, especially after that last season with Damon and Affleck, where he straight up like mansplained to a woman of color, like why?
Why
Like,
a woman didn't get
uh,
picked? Like,
yeah, I'm sure that probably caught him some shit. And I'm sure they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was interesting, especially watching the movie right after. I mean, it gets back to the core of what kind of makes Project Greenlight cool. It's not so much a reality competition series where you're all, top chefing to win money for your movie. It is we're gonna pick you to direct a $3.5 million movie based on like one episode of competition. Like the first episode winnows it down. And then after that, it's really just a docuseries following you making your first like real budget movie, significant budget movie.
yeah.
Okay.
And that causes its own. I think that was the most infuriating thing. The amount of times that they have to explain to the director that $3.5 million comes with notes and strings,
Yeah.
and that like
Yeah.
I don't care if you're sick of the documentary crew following you around your set, and if that makes them making the movie harder. You can't turn your mic off. You're the star of the show. Think of that mic as a fucking money spigot. If you turn
Yeah,
it
you
off, this
can't-
whole thing's. They're like, well, the television crew is making it harder to do the movie crew, and then the producer from HBO comes in and is like, I can't believe I have to say this. It's one project.
It's one crew.
Your movie does not
exist without this other thing going on.
Yeah. They're like,
Yeah.
and I'm just sitting at home going, I can't believe they're having to explain this to you that like
That makes me go like
if you want to
I
go
can
into
take
your own
notes.
credit cards and raise money on your own, you can do whatever the fuck you want. At $3.5 million, man, HBO's going to say a couple things, and they're not being evil for that.
Yeah.
I realize I'm not trying to say anything about the strike or anything. I'm just saying, like, somebody hands you $3.5 million, they're also there's going to be strings. Come the fuck on.
I don't want to
Yeah,
sound like
yeah.
a sellout either, but like fucking, you can't be that precious about your goddamn thing of like, hey, $3.5 million.
Also, when she
like,
didn't
yeah.
like the script to start with, like, I was
Yeah,
baffled
yeah.
at various points.
Sometimes you're gonna have to cast the person that HBO wants to cast or something. Like,
There are a couple of pretty funny times where the Project Greenlight people are like, you really need to step up and be the boss. Like, you're in charge. I need, and she'll be like, okay, cool. I'm making a command decision. It's this. And they're like, so on that one, HBO actually has a choice. And like, that happens a couple of times where it's like, oh, that's fucking brutal. And like, oh, they shouldn't have set her up on that. So then also watched You Won't Be Alone, which is billed as a horror movie, and it really is like an incredibly sweet coming of age movie where one person happens to be skinless and there's a couple of shapeshifters.
Okay.
Noomi Rapace is in it. Is, I believe, entirely in Manchurian. I think is the language. The script looked like Russian, but and it's like a folk tale. Like, starts out like people in huts and shit. Like, the men are scything grass and the women are home with the baby. Like, and woman's baby gets almost stolen by this like skinless witch woman, like immediately at the start of this movie. And she makes a deal with her and basically gets to keep the kid until the kid's 16. And she raises the kid out in the woods, kind of trying to hide her. It doesn't work. At 16, shit goes off and the girl becomes a like new witch in the care of this like burnt skinless kind of monster. It just becomes like she learns to shapeshift. They can wear the skin of dead things, basically. And so like a woman dies in a village and she just takes her place. And then it becomes about like exploring people. Like, she becomes a guy in a village, which is very different. And then she becomes like a little girl in the village, and then she likes that and she grows up in that. Like, it's really beautiful and sweet. Not a horror movie at all. Like, it's definitely one where I was like, you'll need to there's no way to not advertise it as such with the monster, like with the witchy powers, but you can see horror fans being like, well, fuck you, that wasn't scary at all. Because it's genuinely like meditative and beautiful. I was really impressed. Noomi Rapace is one of the bodies, so like she's not the entire movie, but
Okay, all right.
she was the only actress that you would possibly have heard of in this entire thing. It was called You Won't Be Alone. It was really impressive.
Huh.
But on Nick's suggestion, we threw on Nimona, which really enjoyed. I'm shocked how much I enjoyed that animated movie. Holy shit. I laughed, I cried.
Second best animated movie I've seen this year. Maybe
Yeah.
even gives a leg up on Spider-Man Edge of the Spider-Verse, since that's a fucking in-between movie and not really like doesn't really finish or start itself.
It just on sheer animation style, Spider-Verse was still a little bit better. But on story, this thing falls right in line behind Spider-Verse for I don't think I'm going to see a better animated movie than those two.
Wow, I've been hearing lots of good things about it.
Great, yeah, just
And
really good story with this shape-shifting girl and how insane she is.
oh man, the way they play her is perfect.
Is shape-shifting the theme of the week?
Yeah,
It seems to be. Seems to be. Yeah, I can't recommend Nimona highly enough. The jokes are great. The slapstick's great. All the voice acting's wonderful. Francis Conroy and Riz Ahmed and Chloe
Chloe
Grace
Grace
Moretz?
Moretz, because they do a Banana Splits song at the
Oh,
thing
that's
of
right.
it,
They play the Banana Splits theme,
and like
Hit
as
Girl
a
style.
tribute to her Hit Girl thing, yeah. And yeah, her portrayal as Nimona is great as this girl that's way too excited to be a sidekick for who she thinks is a villain. Like,
Oh yeah, yeah. She is way
Sup,
too into
boss?
wrecking shit. It is dark and hilarious.
metal.
I think just finished out season 3 of Better Call Saul with Fanny,
Okay.
which is he just switched the numbers on Chuck.
Oh yeah.
And so that all of that just happened. So next season will be Chuck really coming at it. So Chuck just got him on tape admitting it. Yeah, it's been wild to watch that again. Of course, we kept up on Secret Invasion, Afterparty, watched a movie called Project Wolf Hunting,
Mm-hmm.
which on the one hand is about trying to transport prisoners from from Indonesia to Korea.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's also a super soldier monster movie that just busts out in the middle of that movie. It
Right.
is one of the most violently bananas things I think I've watched in a long time.
By the end of it, I was like, this is a Weapon X movie. Like that.
Yes.
Like if
No, in the last frame of it, you can absolutely imagine Wolverine staggering away with the metal computer diaper and the helmet.
yeah, that he was just the monster in that movie, because in Weapon X he's like not a person yet, right? And Weapon X
Honest
is
to God,
the horror movie you made.
I kind of wish they'd start a Wolverine franchise like that now. Because seriously,
Yes.
like that's what the end of this looks like is like, well, that's what a Weapon X lab looks like when it goes wrong. Yeah. Holy fuck. Project Wolf Hunting. Absolutely worth a watch if you want a hyper violent, crazy fucking horror action movie.
Yeah, some good stuff.
Lisa had seen maybe one of, but had forgotten it existed. Living with Yourself, Paul Rudd's cloning or Make Yourself Better series.
Oh man, I remember that.
Yeah, so we tore through that. I rewatched like all of that, and yeah, very cute. Just as fun the second time. Can't believe that did not get, like, you can tell they kind of do it at the right amount for me. There's a couple of things in the season that point at something going on with the Hillston cell towers, like there's something weird going on there that could have to do with the Top Happy Spa and the cloning procedure. Like there might be a bigger world, but they don't do so much about it in season 1 that the fact that they got canceled, you don't feel like you're left hanging on that. The show never addresses it at all.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, this, of all the ones to not pick up, like this one kind of left it really nicely. You can tell there's world there, but I don't feel like, holy fuck, you couldn't restart that now because, it's been too long or something. Like it's all just right there. That was really cute. They should should do more. Oh wait, they can't because they're on strike. Fuck Netflix. Yep. Fuck the studios.
Yep.
I watched a couple of episodes of Hack Your House or Hack This House. It's on Netflix. Lisa had it on. It is like a couple of engineers coming in and doing like weird space saving shit to people's houses. It was kind of crazy. Like they'll knock walls out and put in crazy contraptions and cut away shit and all sorts of stuff. Also watched a couple of episodes of What If. The last 2 where Ultron wrecks shit. And then we watched the Loki season 1 finale because Lisa couldn't remember what all she'd seen about Kang. And then we watched The Simpsons, Good, the Bart, the Loki, which was cute. 7
I haven't
minutes
watched
of
that one. Yeah.
yeah, it's just 7 minutes of Simpsons and Marvel references, and then watched the Not It episode, which I loved. It was a fun episode anyway, but it also makes the Treehouse of Horror into a two-parter, which is just a
Yeah.
hilarious inside joke, or in joke on
Yeah.
those movies to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of long movies, Nick threw on Midway, which was much better than I thought it would be. I never watched it because Pearl Harbor sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Midway was actually what I wanted out of Pearl Harbor, honestly.
That's what I described it as, is like, oh, this is the good version of Pearl Harbor, basically.
I guess militarily, that's kind of what we wanted. Anyway,
Yeah, it's just a better version, like considering it really shows it's seamless as to far as the three stories going on: the American intelligence, the Japanese intelligence, and the actual flight guys that are actually getting it done in the
actually
Pacific.
doing it. It also frequently, I mean, except for reminding myself that like that's Ed Screen or that's an actor I recognize. It
Right.
feels like an older war movie. Like,
Yes,
it feels like something I'd watch at my grandparents' house.
it feels like
Huh.
John Wayne would not be amiss running through
Right.
here,
Like if Gregory Peck wandered out and yelled at somebody, it wouldn't be insane. And then let's see, Nick showed me a couple of episodes of Love, Death, and Robots, which were screenwritten by the same guy that wrote the Project Greenlight script.
Oh.
Also, I felt like they were important monster movie touchstones as far as like season 3 has two spectrums of the monster stories. And one is Bad
Yeah.
Traveling, which is the kind of eldritch horror type crustacean in the sea, and guy has to figure out how to exactly to get make a safe passage with this thing and a crew that's not really excited to have him as the new captain.
Yeah, it was good in terms of like negotiating a voyage with a crew mutiny. Like you can't just take care of one or two mutineers and then everybody else is loyal. Haha, let's go on. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like you see management of ongoing betrayal. Like well, really, I just have to be the last person standing 3 days from now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was well
Writing
played.
wise, really, really smart and cool. Has a great moment at the very end of like a fuck yeah. And then the exact opposite, which is I think Project Beargast, or I forget what it's called, but it's the one with the cybernetically enhanced grizzly bear. And is
And,
animated
yeah,
in a
with
style that looks like
Bear talons.
like a 80s comic, like Agent Fury 80s
It looks
comic.
it looks like it came out of the 70s heavy metal.
Yes.
It really
Okay,
does.
yeah.
It also it uses all the language and sex. I mean, it opens with that dude just waving his dick, pissing.
And Joel McHale as a CIA op that's in charge of the bear.
It's a crazy CIA op. Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. It was insane. I had not watched much Love, Death, and Robots, and those were both fun. Watched the oh god, I can't remember the name of their rat-based
The Risky Rats.
Risky Rats. Yeah. We watched the Risky Rats
This
episode of
Always Sunny.
Yeah, that was fucking amazing. Holy crap. About the time when they got to building their own in the back of the place, which, I mean, having watched that John Oliver, like, it's such a direct stab at John Oliver. I mean, it's such a direct stab at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
Like, even down to the cartoon mouse version of Ricky, of Risky Rat. But when they start building in the back, like, Nick and I were both like, man, they've only got
there's not enough time.
like 5 minutes left in this episode. This really can't be
Yeah.
much. And then like, oh god,
And then
it's just running
smash
out and
cut.
just fire and blood.
Smash cut to the
They
outside.
flip the switch and then it just hard cuts to, oh my god, where's my son? Like there's just a fire and just, oh my god.
Yep. Yeah.
Fucking spectacular. And then we saw Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning, and
Yeah.
I think that's about it.
That cover everything. Nick, did you have anything to add there?
Sure. I watched some Transylvania TV, some more of that. Just very me show that I could put on in the background. And the only really significant thing that I would put on there is Clone High. I watched some of the new Clone High finally. Considering we're going to talk about Afterparty, I thought it apropos of Christopher Miller and Phil Lord, one of their first projects, and how they returned back to it.
Yeah.
The first episode is a lot of, oh my goodness, how woke the whole world is now, since it's 20 years, literally 20 years to the fucking year forward with the new cast. and they have to interact with the new school and the new clones. Like Frida is super popular, like with her unibrow and just totally cool attitude. And Gandhi, like they mention, like I love that it's not that they don't mention Gandhi, they mention Gandhi a lot, and they keep showing him that he's just in the freezer still. He's the only clone in the freezer still frozen, and they just won't go get him because like the show is like, yeah, we're not gonna do that. Like, and it's not quite. It's a little annoying as far as the like woke stuff, but then like it does get pretty funny as far as who flies today and who doesn't. As far as wait, Topher Bus, what historical figure are you? I'm actually Christopher Columbus, but he doesn't really fly nowadays, so I'm kind of going under a pseudonym. So keep it on the down low, man. And of course, Christopher Columbus is the worst. He's just a terrible like YouTube commenter. And but my favorite jokes, of course, are the JFK jokes, which are fantastic. It's still Christopher Miller doing an awful JFK impression, and I don't know why they tickle me so like just hey there, Joan of Arc. Why don't we French kiss in the way the French do, with poodles on our laps while appeasing Germany? Also, I never caught it before. It must have been in the first season. I just couldn't remember. But the Grassy Knoll is a place they order food from all the time. And only this episode did I finally realize when they drive up to it in JFK's convertible that it's a drive-through. It's a drive-in. Like, oh my God. Which spotted me and Les to go on our own joke thing. Like it should be a bar where he like goes and drinks like a shot called the Magic Bullet, or
take those to our table. We're sitting back and to the left.
The shooters, the Jello shooters. I can't like. There's only two here. There's a third shooter in this room. Where is it? It's meant for me. But yeah, Joan of Arc is her goth. Like, she's actually. And her into issues now. She's super popular. Cleopatra is not. Just fun all around. They just had their musical episode as Ep 5, and that one was their best one yet so far. As just singing about like how it makes the exposition go down easier when it's sung. And they make a musical about the game Twister. Where it's a right hand on blue and right hand on green are struggling for right foot's on yellow's love or something, and it's
like it's not a musical about characters playing Twister. It's about the instructions of Twister as abstract characters.
And Abe Lincoln.
So like somebody's in like a green foot costume. And somebody's in like a red hand, and it's insane.
And Abe Lincoln is the spinner, Mayor Spinner, and he's so terrible at it. But they kind of like, why does Abe get to do the thing? Like doesn't have a good voice. He's not a good dancer. Like but he's got that white guy confidence. So George Washington Carver and a bunch of other minority characters, including Confucius and Harriet Tubman. And Sacagawea, I think, is in that one as well. Try and distill Abe Lincoln's sweat into just pure white guy confidence, and they put it into a cauldron, like to put together, and they stir it with Axe body spray and a picture of Joe Rogan in order to get this unearned white guy confidence. And it's it's pretty fun. I liked it.
Yeah, Abe going off about how his blood's just in the theater. It's
all over this theater.
I just pour my heart blood. I've just poured my blood out on the stage.
Joan, I can't believe you didn't immediately say yes to being my girlfriend. I can't be the only Kennedy with a failed relationship. What? Why is everyone looking at me?
Yeah, it's great.
Come on, let's go drive down this float in this convertible. What's the worst that could happen?
What? Why is everybody looking at me?
Let's sing instead of speaking. It'll make the exposition way more interesting. Let's sing our thoughts and feelings. Let's use melody and rhythm while communicating information that the audience needs to know. Like what each one of us is hoping to achieve by putting on this show. The premise of which was set up in the previous scene. Let's go!
All right, well, just a reminder, you can support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes and throwing us a buck an episode. In exchange, we get to keep up with our streaming services, pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, we're talking Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1. Let's jump over and have our main course, y'all. Let's talk Afterparty Season 2.
Oh man,
My goodness.
So
just
it
right
really
out of the gate.
I had not
So
even
good.
considered. I had not even considered that they might have like needed to change the name of the show, or when I was like, oh, it's a wedding this season, and it wasn't until Nick went,
Yeah.
oh, cool, there is an after party at the wedding. That's why they can leave the name alone. And I was like, yeah, that wasn't even going to bother me.
I had the same moment. It wasn't going to bother me either.
Mhm.
But then when they start talking about the wedding after party, I'm like, oh
Yep.
shit, that's
It's
clever.
like, damn it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like, we got you covered. Don't worry about it.
yeah. Don't want to change the show to Reception and confuse everybody.
I wasn't sure how it was going to go with Anik. I mean, obviously, they had set up that we were going to see Anik and Zoe, and they had set up that Anik had sort of a chemistry a little bit with Tiffany Haddish's detective, whose name I cannot remember. And so I'm like, okay,
What does it
that
matter?
makes
She's
sense. but
Tiffany
how-
Haddish as a detective. It's not like it's an
Right.
actual
Yeah.
character.
No, it doesn't matter. But I was like, so how are they going to do a thing where he's consulting with her and she calls him in a case? No, it's the opposite of
Yes.
that. It's a family wedding and he calls her in to consult because she
Which
is
is-
supposed to be writing a book that she cannot
Which
write.
is brilliant because then you get the first episode of his perspective just over the phone.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So there's no
Yep.
wasted time. Like we get that first one
Yep.
from his perspective immediately. And I love them playing it as it sounds like you're in a sequel. Cause like he just can't do anything
Yep.
right. And he's just
Yes.
trying to
Yep.
impress her family. And
Yep.
Girl, you in a sequel.
Yeah, they full on go with the meta. They swing right into it. It works. And also Anik had this one of the things that really worked about After Party Season 1 was how sort of hapless he was. And they managed to, even though he is in a committed relationship with Zoe, he's not screwing things up with her. Now he's got her family to deal with, and he's screwing things up with them the same way he screwed up with Zoe. And it's just a really nice transition bit.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
boy, the family just not like him. Like they would not like him even before he fucked up. But like it's really compounding things. Like him not being at the table, like is a
Yes.
weird flex of like, I'm sorry, are
Yes.
you family? That well, I mean, I'm with the sister of the bride.
they're already doing wonderful things with the various Rashomon perspectives and like what's consistent, what's really going to matter later.
Mhm.
Like we know how fair they played in the first season. This season, when he first sits down at the table they've got him at, and like, no, then you're at the correct table. And he sits down there, and it's Stingray from fucking Cobra
Yeah.
Kai.
Yeah.
Looks at him and like immediately says, "You know anything about crypto?" Yeah, I want to know the table.
It's immediately like, and you didn't know that was actually going to be important later because I was like, oh shit, there is going to be a cryptocurrency because that's just a thing you
Like
could expect some douchebag to
Right.
say.
It never needed. It could have just been a joke.
That is Paul Walter Hauser, who, by the way, he has perfected the role of playing. He is always playing the kind of guy that if you saw him in real life, you'd walk the other way.
Yes. Yeah.
Like he is
I will
literally.
always remember him in I, Tonya as the security expert.
He played Richard Jewell, I think.
Yeah, he did.
My God.
He's literally got the fedora. It's almost too cartoonish how
When he changes from the
fedora
outside
incel
fedora
he
to the
is.
inside fedora
Yeah,
in the office.
but he makes it work the same way he makes Stingray lovable, despite what a giant douchebag he is.
All of his weird slang back in our steampunk days.
Yes.
Back in the late good times.
Oh
The
yeah.
third episode, which is Travis, that's his character's name, which is his episode, that is a nod to black and white noir. I was impressed by how well the lighting was done.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like it looks like they have you get the window shade look. It like they really go all in.
That's
on the
something you have to
details of all
do
this.
like you can't do that just in post. You gotta prep
No.
to shoot
Yeah.
black
Yeah.
and white like that. And
Yeah.
his dialogue is always so weirdly specific, and I one of the ones that caught me, and I don't know why, it's just because it's cute, like it's a cute noir riff, is like, I knew he was as dirty as the feet on a box turtle. And I was like, he really
I'll
caught
pay
me
you
off
3
guard.
hams. That's a lot of cheddar. That's a lot of lettuce.
Elizabeth Perkins, you guys don't. I don't know if you know this yet because I don't think you were at this panel at ATX TV Fest. She has a notable role in Minx season 2,
Okay.
and she practically steals that show too.
Oh man, she's amazing as the mom.
Even
here.
her little bits as the mom, she is so good. I forget how good she is.
She's
until
so
she
drunk
shows
and
up in
insane
something.
here. Like
Yes,
her constantly
yeah.
calling her Gail.
Yes.
I can't believe you wore white to a wedding. You're wearing white, you psycho bitch.
And then of course the actor that was Jared in Silicon Valley
Yeah.
and his lizard, Roxana.
Yes, I love that he is actually from Silicon Valley. Like the character is from Silicon Valley. It feels like this is his character from Silicon Valley who changed his name
Right.
and tried
Yeah.
to restart a new life.
Yeah, every time he's on screen, like even though he's the corpse, of course he's going to be in everybody's memories alive.
Yeah, he's in
every time he's on
yeah.
screen, he fucking steals it for me. That guy is hilarious to me.
We've seen it from I think 3 different points of view now, but his
Mhm.
weird acid flashback thing where he starts calling them all devils is hilarious to
I
me.
can't
every
wait
time.
to actually see what he sees because he's obviously tripping fucking balls.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I just love the like, oh, so that's your play. Melt your own head.
Melt your own face. That's your play, huh? Like it's like
Well, I'm on to you.
it's one of those things that it is no matter what changes throughout the tellings, certain things are consistent, and that is consistent
Yeah.
throughout all 3 tellings of him being like
Well, you're all
devil.
Well, you're all
like-
devils now.
Also, John
Yeah.
Cho coming in on the horse.
Oh
Yes.
man, Funkle Ulysses. Just
I love that the horse is real and consistent.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
how
he's
he
not
gets
always
off
on
the
a
horse
rope. He's not always
is not always
Also, Ken Jeong is playing things a little bit restrained for him this
Yes.
way. And I'm so happy because a little Ken Jeong goes a long way.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that they didn't he's not just tearing into the thing. He is
you
playing
want
a character.
you want early community Ken Jeong, not late community.
Yeah,
Ken
not
Jeong.
late community Ken Jeong.
Yeah. We don't want Changnesia here.
But I'll tell you what I really love. I think it was very clever of them to split up Zoe and Anik. So Zoe's off doing her little investigation. Anik is doing his, and we see them cross paths every now and then. Because too much of them together, I think, would be bad too.
Yeah.
Well, also like they're kind of on different ends of the spectrum of like Anik's trying to like appease her of like, hey, we're trying to prove Grace's innocence.
But yeah,
And it's like,
Well,
yeah, in the sense that we're pretty sure she didn't do it, but if we throughout the investigation discover that she did it, what do you want to do here? Lie to the cops or like?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
we'll discuss that if we come to it.
Mhm,
Yeah, I
mhm.
think with them together, it would be easy to have Zoe suddenly be pretty normal.
Well,
And
Yeah.
it would be easy to forget that Zoe's fucking nuts. And
Yeah.
like she had the animated bear one in the first one.
Yes.
Grace's story is the Victorian like almost the
Mhm.
great level of like weird and Zoe fucking telling her not to get married on the wedding day is borderline like just psycho. Like no,
Yep.
it would
yep.
actually be like unless you were saying like it would actually be easier to just go through the wedding and then get a
like an annulment
An
tomorrow
annulment
would be
tomorrow.
easier.
Yeah.
than trying to
Yeah.
cancel this wedding. Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah, it's like,
time
no.
to say something about this was way long ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, at one point, this boulder was at the tippy top of a mountain, and you could have said something then. Every moment
Yeah.
you wait after that, the boulder picks up speed, and yelling to stop it right before the bottom of the valley is insane. At least let it roll halfway up the other side while you unwrap some gifts.
Yeah. I will say, I this is a great cast. I do miss the energy that John Ralphio brought to the proceeding, and they
Mhm.
don't have someone quite in the same.
Stingray
vein
gets
here.
close for me, but yeah, he's
He's
not
close,
Ben
yeah.
Schwartz,
Yeah.
who I got to see do
So-
improv at Paramount recently.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I think John Cho will be our fun person if when we get to see his perspective.
Yeah.
And yeah, because Ben Schwartz was Anik's buddy to helping him investigate in the
Oh
last
yeah,
season,
Scarpe Diem.
and
Right,
now
right,
Zoe's
yes.
kind of like the
Zoe's the unique investigating. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's I mean, it's really, really good. The first season was great. The season's great so far. I'm super excited. It's definitely going in our dessert for the week.
I am hoping.
Well,
I don't know how they do this because it's not exactly within the line of the show of the interviewing and getting people's minds movies. But I'm hoping they find the bio data for Roxanne the lizard and somehow are able to see it from Roxanne's perspective. I want a
I want
lizard
Roxanna's
episode.
whole view on it.
Tiffany Haddish can like narrate it, but I want her to be like, well, at this time, the bio, like, I want to somehow just see it from Roxanne's perspective. I think it would be really funny.
So, do you guys realize I was just kind of looking ahead a little bit. In a couple of weeks, we're gonna have Only Murders in the Building and the Afterparty both running, and that's just
Oh,
delightful.
Ooh,
wow.
all right.
All right.
All we need is a little more of that. What is it, Murder Town or whatever it is on Netflix to pop up at the same time. We'll have all the murder
If
comedies.
only, if only, what was it? Trial and Error was still running. That would be the
yeah,
perfect
yeah.
trifecta of that.
All right, let's jump over and change gears and talk about what we do in the shadows, which is entering its
Fifth
fifth
season?
season. Yep.
Seems like there should
And
be
last
more
season, I
than
think
that.
we all really liked last season with that Baby Colin and
Oh,
the,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
vampire nightclub and all that stuff. And this kicks off with a pretty notable thing where they played it cute, like whether it actually happened or not. But Guillermo is now a vampire.
Yes. I honestly, Nick was like, no, they really did it. They really did it. And I'm back behind
I was
him.
thinking, I was
looking
thinking they
over his
didn't do
shoulder
it.
going, if they cop out, I will be so
And then
mad.
I was telling Les, I'm like, Les, this is not the show to cop out on this. Like
I was like, I know it's not. I will be mad if they do, because it's not. They're not the show to cop out on this.
Like they're gonna hit him, and it's gonna be weird and and yeah, it is. He's slowly turning, and I'm thinking it's because of his Helsing blood.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we think, that his Van Helsing
But-
line is undercutting his
Yeah.
vampireness. But I love
that
the
makes
fact that,
sense.
like, we'll see. They get Doug Jones. We'll see
Yep.
what happens when we turn somebody twice.
Yep. Oh.
The sound he made was
no.
so like I was like, it's not a big like True Blood where it was just a little
Yes. Yeah.
like it was. Actually, I think it made it funnier. Just like
Yeah.
Oh, and then of course the just ongoing brain scramblies. But the joke that they opened the episode back with of Nadja crying about having lost the nightclub and lost the
Yeah.
and like, why did none of you tell me? I felt so seen because of all the shows that you guys withhold from me.
why didn't you? Like we've told you multiple times to
We
slow
told you
down.
multiple
Told you
times.
multiple times.
And
You
then the
burned
nightclub
it down.
burnt down from a fire, which you set
You started.
when you were
set.
drunk. When you were drunk on liquor blood, which we told you to stop drinking.
Yeah.
She busts up, man. She busts up the little Nadja doll, and they go to fucking Build-A-Bear workshop too.
Yes. Yes. I just kind of know what color cowboy hat you wanted.
Well, look, I'm going to need a taint that won't quit. Wow.
Am I remembering from the first season that somebody was I thought somebody used to be bad at I really thought it was Nandor that used to be bad at hypnotizing or couldn't really do it.
I mean, Laszlo definitely is. He says he's bad at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think they kind of retcon that a little bit too, because I remember him, like, they says he can only do it with Sean. I'd interested to go. It's worth going back to do a rewatch. What We Do in the Shadows. It might be time to see if that.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a thing they kind of retroactively made true
Yeah.
because
But yeah,
they
I
go
love
with
the,
like
brain scrambling the whole burrow.
Nandor that's just his go-to move.
Yep.
And he convinces them that later in the episode that he's Sully Sullenberger, and Laszlo's Tom Selleck from Blue Bloods.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, when they've got all the cops saluting them, it's hilarious.
Everywhere they go. Yes.
Everywhere they go.
Christian Shaw shows back up to be like Nadja's bestie, and honestly, like they. Again, like the show, it doesn't really need to worry about consistency with its plot lines or whatever, but like they just kind of straight up forget that aren't they supposed to be the new vampiric council?
Yeah, they're very
Like, did we like just kind of like forget about that? And do we not care about that anymore?
Well, Shaw even shows up. She's like, I thought maybe you'd forgotten about me. You forgot I existed. I feel like that's the writer's meta jokes.
It's like, yeah, that was last season.
we
Whatever.
forgot that was going on. Yeah, yeah. I will say I do think these first two episodes they're really good, but it does feel a little slower than last season. Like I'm not as in love with the plots as I was with like Baby Colin and the nightclub. Like the Guillermo being turned is really interesting, but it's a slow
And
burn.
I think some of it is just a feel of a reset, a small little
Yeah,
reset of they're back in the house. No, there's no more
yeah,
nightclub. Colin Robinson is now not at an office working, but he's working a service industry job, which is
yeah, yeah,
different, but yet not.
yeah, yeah,
And it's last season, like it was a shakeup for everything. Like everything was
yeah.
a lot different, and now it doesn't seem to be not as bad as some other shows when I feel like they reset to try and get back to season 1 or whatever that even fucking means.
Right.
But yeah, I would give it a little bit more of a chance to take off here. Like I'm surprised that like the episode is named like they discover the mall, and they don't really spend a lot of
Yeah.
time in the mall, but the time they do spend is
No.
pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bikini warehouse must be a front for a brothel.
Nadja being furious that there's little Acapulcos. I cannot remember the name of the place where she's from. Of course, the Greeks stole everything from them.
Yes, a little like in Staten Island.
Like, wait, how did you not know that this was a few blocks? Why didn't you tell me? You never asked.
All right, let's jump over and let's have our desserts. We're doing double desserts this week. Let's start with My Adventures with Superman,
All right.
which third
This-
episode introduces some of the new villains.
We have
Yeah, and
a new take on Intergang.
Yeah.
They went pretty deep in this. Like the Mist is from Starman. Roughhouse is a really deep
Banshee
cut.
was the only one I even recognized, and even that's not like you're gonna have to get into a little DC lore to know who Banshee is.
Man, I know the DC universe really, really well. I know it pretty well,
Mhm.
but I didn't know who the fuck Roughhouse was.
Oh,
I
I
was
didn't
like,
know who
"Did they
that
make
was
this guy
at
up?"
all.
No,
No.
he is a guy from he was one of Bruno Mannheim's guys. And Bruno Mannheim's
Oh,
Tied to
long
Intergang.
time
Okay.
Intergang dude.
Makes sense.
So,
Sure.
but like, man, I was like, wow, that is a super deep because I know who the Mist is. That's from Starman.
Mhm.
But even that's a '90s
Yeah.
comic that most people haven't read. Like it's pretty obscure.
So that also cleared up a theory me and Les had as far as who Livewire stole all this shit from, and it was like, well,
Mhm.
it's got to either be Intergang or Argus, and so Intergang being this, it's kind of fun of Intergang being a low level gang that just got
Mhm.
tech and is now
Yeah.
like, no, Intergang is like, no, they used to be like 3 fuck off kids, and now they have like, so, but the tech is obviously coming. It was jacked from Argus, and it's all
Yeah.
stuff to fight Kryptonians.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're prepping for the Krypton.
They're prepping
war,
for a Kryptonian invasion, which is why
I think why they're so
why they're so like this. When Superman shows up, they're like, "Who the fuck is that?"
Yeah, I think that's why they got Slade in there.
It makes me very. I like it. It's a little intrigue and mystery of like Argus, like Slade and Amanda Waller and them are prepping for a. I forget what they called it in the show, but some sort of event that is like the Kryptonians coming down, and Superman obviously doesn't know anything about that. He's slowly learning about being a Superman, much less
Yeah.
about the weird people that speak an alien language in the ship that brought him here.
I love that the creators of the show flat out said that they are not doing Lex. They feel like Luthor's been done to death,
Oh, I hadn't seen that. That's good.
and they're not doing it. That they are
I think
going
that's
to do.
good. I think that's you should keep him for a season 2 or 3 if you get it.
Yeah.
In the interview, they hinted at a character that they loved that had electrical powers, which is obviously Livewire, and that they would also be doing an extra dimensional threat that wears a really fun hat,
Hell,
which is definitely
yeah.
going to be Mr. Mixelpick.
Yeah. Yeah,
Which
nice.
I'm kind of glad they, in the same interview, I think they said that they really spent time trying to think about like, well, the main complaint on any Superman story is that he's overpowered. Like he's
Yeah.
just nothing hurts him. So like there is a
Yeah.
list of shit that hurts that has traditionally fucked him up.
I
Magic
also
and
like-
extra dimensional shit.
The origins
Mhm.
for the Superman villains like Livewire and the Intergang are from tech that they're that are specifically being designed to thwart a Kryptonian invasion. So
Yeah.
all of this stuff has a canonical reason to hurt a otherwise invulnerable person. Like it's all
Yeah.
not for him specifically, but for Kryptonians.
Yeah, but it's going to knock him
Yeah.
out of the air.
I think that's a smart, like what they did with the Tinkerer in Spider-Man: Homecoming with all the
Mhm.
all the tech from the Chitauri and how they kind of backdoored
Yeah.
a reason for everyone having these weird gadgets in the Marvel MCU. They're kind of doing it here
Yeah.
with Intergang and the Argus tech, and I like it a lot.
Yeah, I agree. I'll tell you a little thing I really liked in this. They have got the Clark Kent Superman thing down where I'm like, oh, man, I totally buy where someone wouldn't know. They do a bit at the end here where Superman is talking to Lois and then he flies off.
Mhm.
And a second later, Clark runs in, out of breath, hair messed up, and there is no way she would think it was the same person at that point.
Yeah.
Like there's no way. And it's such a good little. They don't have to use any robots.
Nope.
They don't have to have Batman dress up as Clark Kent like that. It was such a believable bit. I'm like, oh, that's gonna buy a lot of credibility of he's not Superman.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I love
Yeah.
the fact that the episode ends with, so how was the interview? Oh, he's a huge liar. Like
Yeah, yeah.
What?
that was
But,
great.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
their relationship. I'm digging this show. I told Nick,
Yeah.
it's like it finally clicked. I think what they're doing with this is a palette reset, course correction.
yeah.
Mhm.
So there's no way that Gunn's Superman movie is going to be this hard on its sleeve, anime,
Mhm.
blush
No.
cheeks, aw shucks. But Cavill's like the Snyderverse Superman was just damn near grayscale and murdered people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so like this like veers it all the way into Speed Racer and like back like
Yeah.
so that we can course correct back to something with color that's more lighthearted. I feel like this is the palette cleanse. It still
Yeah,
throws
that
me
makes
off that
sense.
this is a midnight Adult Swim premiere.
That is weird because this is so good.
It's
for
not
kids.
fucking Spawn.
Yeah, this is
I
a
mean-
really
Yeah.
fun. This is a fun kids show, I think. Like,
Yeah.
it's not really violent. There's no language or even
Yeah.
No, this is
not
definitely
even
geared
in
for
the
kids,
sexual
right?
innuendo. There's kind of cutesy
Yeah.
romance stuff, but not even
Yeah,
not
yeah,
a lot of
the
it's like risque.
The Superman Lois and Clark Lois stuff is very, very chaste. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. It's puzzling as with all marketing decisions these days.
Yep.
But I'm glad they're doing it. I'm really enjoying the
I'm
show.
loving it. I wish it was coming out more
I love
often.
it.
It
Yeah.
kills me to wait to Friday for it.
Yeah.
I can only hope that the Batman show that whoever bought up, was it Prime or whatever bought up, Cape
Mhm.
Crusader is basically kind of like what I want for like that, but for
I
Batman.
think it's gonna be a little more grim, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Isn't it like J.J. Abrams and some of those guys?
Oh, could it
I
at
don't
least
know.
be the '90s Batman? Could it be that?
It'd be nice.
Like-
It makes me wish these were on the
It'd be
same
nice.
channel because I would love a Batman show done in its different, obviously completely different
Yeah.
style,
Yeah.
but in a world where they could meet. I mean, like you could actually do a Batman Year One kind of thing and have them both meet and
Yeah.
do a give me
Yeah.
give me a World's Finest.
Yeah, like its own little mini universe that's outside
Mhm.
of like Young Justice.
For sure.
My Adventures with Superman, the Batman Diaries.
Let's jump over and talk about Secret Invasion, which is one episode from finishing.
Mm-hmm.
As we get deeper into this, I want to say a little disappointed that I feel like this could have used more room to breathe,
It's
and
exactly
I really
what
feel
I was
like it
saying
could
this
have used
morning. Yeah.
it could have used a bigger scope. I feel like making it all about Fury. They even have talked about it. Olivia Colman's straight up asked him. She's like, "Why don't you call any of your friends?" And the reason he gives of like, "Well, if we can't handle this, then," I'm like, "What? I'm not
There's
buying
an
that reason."
inborn reason of, well, they would have made things worse given the fact that they could
Yeah.
replace some of them, and also
Yeah.
we don't want them to get the DNA, right?
Right. And so why they didn't do that, and they'd already said that, so I don't know why they had
Yeah.
to have another reason.
On
Yeah,
top,
I know
for
they
that.
wanted to make it personal of like Fury feels because Fury did the harvest thing, he's directly responsible
Because
for
I
it.
can actually get that
Mhm.
of like, no, we have to do this ourselves because if they get like fucking Carol Danvers blood in Super Scrolls, shits could be
Yeah, we're
over.
all
We
fucked.
could be
Yeah,
over. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, yeah, I get it. That's good stakes of
Yeah.
and this is the episode where I feel you can start to see structural problems.
Yeah.
Because now there's one episode left, so there's not enough time for them to do stuff that we might have given them gratis on. And one of
Yeah.
those things
Yeah.
is Gravik. Gravik's a pretty boring bad guy.
He really is, and it's too bad.
Well, it's because they didn't show me any of the betrayals. They just told me he was
They
mad.
keep saying how personal
Yeah.
it is with him and Fury. And even,
Yeah.
I love, one of the things I do like is that even the Skrulls don't seem to really, like, are not with it anymore either, of like, the fuck are you doing,
Yeah.
man? Like,
Yeah.
because even, and good for them for not bitching out the first time he murders somebody too, of like, the first time he murders
Yeah.
somebody and like, you are all expendable. And they do what
Yeah.
you'd think they might do, which is, yeah, fuck this psycho, right? We're not following
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. I liked that too, because I was like, this is like, you know how in every Marvel movie that people talk about this with, like, Black Panther and even Thanos to some degree. Not Thanos, but there are characters who are like the villains who like, oh no, the villain's right, but now we got to make him go psycho so we can make him
Yeah,
a
I would say
villain.
Killmonger's
Like
probably
Killmonger's the big one. There's another one I can't remember right now that's similar. It's like you're like, well, that guy has a good point. Oh, but he murdered a bunch of people. Gravik doesn't really have a good point. I mean, he sort of does in that they're trying to find a homeland, but they made him like
well, all their
cartoonish villain.
points are moot and dumb when you think about, like,
Yeah.
I really need them to hit, like, in this episode they do hit like Amelia Clark, Fury's, what's her name, the fucking Fury's wife, hits her with like,
Yeah.
well, like, I didn't mean to offend. Yeah, you did. You're young and you think
you
you
did.
fucking know
Yeah.
everything. I need them to like really hit that these young Skrulls don't know what the fuck they're doing because they're not listening to the
Yeah.
old Skrulls of like, you fucking morons, you weren't alive. You were
Yeah.
5 years old when we were running from the rest of the universe, and you somehow think
Yeah.
we're gonna take over this planet.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
she's your father was a simple man. All he wanted in life was a Jedi funeral. And like when they're standing over the pyre, and she puts his ring on his chest or whatever, and it's like he was a general, he deserves a general's funeral. And Nick and I were like, man, it feels like
You didn't know your
Gaia
dad.
doesn't know any of this. Like it feels
Yeah.
like it made me wonder of like
Yeah.
for fighting for the cause, do young Skrulls know anything about their
Yeah.
I c-
No, I think
like
they
because
just,
like she
they
had
just
to go
think-
get us an elder to help her do the funeral. It felt like
And
like,
when
you don't know
another-
the traditions.
Another episode could really flesh that out of like how
Yeah.
the young Skrulls are the ones that are because it did feel like that. It does feel like the young Skrulls
Yeah,
are the ones
yeah.
following Gravik, and the old Skrulls he
Yeah.
had to like muscle his way into to get in charge
Yeah.
of.
They could have done more to show us
Right,
that.
as
You know, that
as
would've been-
written, there you'd have to rewrite some stuff in order to make it 10, like
Mhm.
to make it 8 or 10. Because right now
Yeah.
there's some stuff that get forgiven because you can now focus, because I don't know how many Super Skrulls are running around, because Gravik seems to have only made himself a Super Skrull when he specifically
Yeah.
promised that they were almost like, did I misread that, or saying that he was gonna like, hey, we're all gonna be Super Skrulls?
That's how I read it too. But yes, he and Gaia are the only Super Skrulls, and she cheated her way.
Yeah,
into
Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, I get him holding something back for himself. I could imagine
Yeah.
him being the only one with extremists.
it. Yeah.
Where like, okay, the rest of you are powerful as fuck. I'm the only one who's also immortal.
So that's a
Yeah.
thing that like, okay, you're gonna since it's going super fast, you can forgive that in 6, but in 8 episodes, you're
Yeah.
gonna need a built-in reason for why he doesn't make more Super
Yeah.
Skrulls.
That's
And I would
true.
say that
That's true.
that's worth rewriting and making so that you can
Yeah.
flesh out some of these make Fury's wife a bigger character and a bigger thing, because I liked the
So,
idea of her.
I will say that I feel like they both Fury's wife and Olivia Colman, anytime they're on the screen, I'm more interested in the show.
Right.
Both of them are the best characters
Yeah,
in the show.
And both of them have gone whole episodes without being
Without
there.
being,
Yeah.
and it's
Olivia Colman is great. This whole episode, she was the MVP.
so it's weird because it
Yeah.
is.
This whole
It
thing.
feels like there needs to be more episodes, but it's 6 episodes, and there's already characters that don't show for episodes at a time, so they feel like
Yeah,
they don't have
yeah.
anything to do.
Yeah. I also think Rhodey's underwritten.
Yeah.
I think that Skrull Rhodey, they should have made that Skrull Rhodey reveal a lot earlier than they did.
Yes. And then I should have
And
gotten
I
to see
feel like-
2 roadies working
Yeah.
like real roadie working his way up. Or at Frey
Yeah,
or whatever.
I don't like that we only have Skrull Rhodey in this show, and I feel like I hope we're going to get real Rhodey and War Machine in the final episode, but
I
I
think
don't
so.
know at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I told Nick I want more of this, but it's not as simple as me wanting 7 and 8. I want
No.
the show rewritten so that there
That it
needed
could
to be 8.
support
Like
another 2 episodes.
I don't want another 2 episodes. It's not like, oh my God, She-Hulk is so charming that even if it fucks your arc up, please just put out a holiday episode. I don't give a fuck. Just give me another 2 30-minute episodes of this, please. And I don't feel that way about Secret Invasion, but I do want it to be slightly bigger.
Yeah. Well, I also don't feel like they can wrap this all up in one episode.
I think they can, but it will be to the detriment of the Skrulls as a threat because, and maybe that's the point of it. Of once humans figure out about Skrulls, they're like, "You fucking morons! Your only advantage was us not knowing about you.
Nobody knew who you were,
and now that we know, and you haven't started World War III yet, you are fucked." Because that's what it feels like. This episode feels like. Do the Skrulls have a backup plan here? Because
I think y'all just pissed away your whole plan.
Because I don't think even with Super Skrulls, you can just take over Earth. Like, you're gonna need a lot of Super Skrulls.
Yeah.
So the thing that would make me absolutely happiest out of the next episode, like if there was one thing they could do that would make me forgive a lot of shit, it would be for that to have happened. Like the Skrulls just blew their whole plan or whatever. And next episode is kind of a, maybe a little bit of an action letdown in terms of like no big ending set piece, like, oops, you fucked up. Now the whole world knows about you, kind of thing. And the show end on the Kree going, what?
Yeah.
And like tie it into the Marvels like that. Like have the Marvels end with there being a full Kree war oncoming.
Yeah.
And have it be because like that would be my favorite thing to happen would be for exactly what we said. The you idiots revealed yourselves.
Yeah.
Your best thing going was that the Kree didn't know where the fuck you were.
Yeah. Your main asset is that you're hard to find. Like that's your as Skrulls, your whole advantage is that. And you want to blow it up because you feel like, well, don't you want to live in your own skin? And I just want someone to go, yes, but not as much as I want to live, period.
Live.
That would be that's my counter argument. And I feel like that's an argument that should win more. But I don't know. Like, I feel like this is going to end with either a weird alliance going forward or them having to go off into space to really like, okay, I guess we got to find a planet now because we burnt Earth as a bridge.
Right.
Because otherwise, Olivia Colman is going to like, I feel like it's going to be like scorched Earth. Like, okay, cool. You're like, what did you say, Les? Either you're going to be the Nazis we recruit to NASA or you're going to be the nameless ones that end up in a ditch.
No, she already offered out that leave. Like, look, you can be Werner von Braun and we can bring you over to NASA or we'll hunt you to the ends of the fucking earth. Like, I feel like Olivia Colman was definitely making that like, no, I could be your best friend or your worst enemy. I work for clandestine services in government. We don't have morals. We just make deals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I did like she didn't know Rhodey was a Skrull. Like there's conflict.
I love that. She's like,
what?
He's like, well, yeah, he's a Skrull. What?
Well, who isn't a Skrull? Yeah. God damn it.
I really, really want to highlight how good Olivia Colman. She's good in everything, but her bit here, where she just walks in and shoots the Skrull boss.
Yeah,
she's like, yeah, I don't need you. Look, he's green. He's.
She just walks into a room is
pretty
confident she's gonna get away with whatever she's about to do.
No matter what room she's in or what she's doing. I mean, whether she's taking on torturing a Skrull. And or whether she's torching a laboratory, like the bit where she goes in and she's talking to the guy raises the shotgun and she's like, oh no, now we're gonna have to punish you. And he's like, that's not my name. He's like, no, I know, that's the guy with the silencer in the back of your head.
There he is.
That seems like an intelligence failure here. And then he tries to like take the Skrull chick hostage, and I was like, "What is your move here?"
Oh, and she just drops it. Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, she just drops.
Well, that was the best case scenario. I thought she was going to drop both of them right then. The only thing I can think of is that the other one's a scientist and is worth a shit. Like you were the
also
one
her
that was
looking at the scientist
expendable,
and like,
dude.
Re-explain it to me. Don't act like I'm stupid. It's I'll be sad to see it go, but it's also been a little bit of an odd series.
It's been hit and miss, and not that I don't like it. I am enjoying it, but I definitely it has been hit and miss. And I will really Man, I wish there'd been more Olivia Colman in this because she's
Yeah.
great every time she's on screen.
Yep.
I almost feel like we need to be less inside the scrolls. Like maybe Gaia's whole part shouldn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like if all of us from the outside and we never saw what Gravik was doing, and it was all more. It was more Fury, more Talos, more
where the Skrulls really are a faceless threat,
Falsworth.
and you don't really know the scope of
Yeah.
it.
I think I'd like that better.
I would have
But
buried take all of that out. You're right. Like keep us out of the scrolls and everything, and returned this to doing little bitty stingers, like a little
Yeah.
mid-credit stinger, and that be
Right.
the only look inside the scroll compound you get every week.
right, and only like we only find out about Super Scrolls when he shoots Gravik and Gravik lives.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine how much more impact that would have
Yeah.
had if Gravik had killed Talos and Fury kills this kid who he helped, basically bring up, and he shoots him, thinking that he's put him, and he goes down and comes back up.
Yeah.
With the extremis, like be like, oh shit,
And yeah, have
what's
Fury look
that?
at it and go, Extremis, what have you done?
And
Yeah.
that's how we reveal Super Skrulls. Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
That there's ways to make this better, and I think that's kind of the shame of it. Is like
Yeah.
it's not that it's bad; it's that there's a better version.
You can
of this
see that,
it's
and you
not on
can.
the screen.
It's pretty apparent.
It's
like,
in line with
just
the
coulda done that.
Marvel, this phase's Marvel movies, which are like, oh, these are good
Yeah.
and fun,
Yeah.
but there's definitely ways to improve them. And the Marvel shows have
Yeah.
been much more, damn, almost no notes, dude. Loki
Yeah.
rules,
Yeah,
fucking Miss Marvel rules, She-Hulk rules.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I think you're right, and I think that's what it is. It's like Marvel when Marvel is firing on all cylinders, like it did for most of the first few phases. You look at it, and they're doing what you want them to do. Whereas this is a little bit more like what DC does, where you're like, guys, you're so close to doing something really cool, except it's better than DC.
well, I
so
mean, it's still fun
I'll
to
give it that
watch.
at
Like,
least.
it's not a, like,
It's still fun to watch.
I mean, we're
Yeah.
picking it apart,
not-
but it really,
Yeah,
I'm only picking it apart because now I'm at like, well, this is definitely where we're at the penultimate episode, and I can see where they're just don't have time to wrap up some of this stuff in a satisfactory way. So I'm adjusting expectations.
yeah. All right, I think that wraps it up for us, and we'll be back next week with more. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Les.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Randy.
Thanks, dudes.
Thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our patrons. Reminder, you can go to patreon.com/tvdudes and pay us that $1 an episode. Listen to us talk about any number of things, such as maybe Mission Impossible. And until next time,
Dudes up. I wonder whose perspective it'll be from next week.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV dude Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.